In this video, my guest is Fabian Westerheide. He is one of the biggest investors in the field of artificial intelligence in Germany with his venture capital fund, Asgard. He as well is the founder of one of the biggest AI events in Europe, the Rise of AI. And he is one of the most well-rounded experts in the field. In this video, we will talk about why he doesn't think that we will need an AGI to have a big shift. He calls it meta AI, and what is about that we will cover as well. Why AI with big impact will first materialize in the military and then second in the realms of the civilian world, and how complete industries will get connected, like really deeply connected with AI in the first place. This and many more nuggets of knowledge will be in this video. So let's dive right in and have fun. So welcome, Fabian. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you for having me on your show for a very exciting topic.
That is true. And there we are getting right into it, because your milestones are a little bit different than most of milestones, I would argue. And maybe not even AGI is the final goal. We will see more on that in a second. So this is your timeline that you gave me before, and I would say just let's hop in. What is the first 2024? So next year, it's agent models. What do you mean with that, and what are the implications for the usual guy?
So first I would like to involve a little bit our audience and saying like, hey, AGI is not the ultimate goal. We talk here about the evolution of the AI space, yes, in various forms and creativity and whatever will be. And for you, I have just thought about, okay, what will be milestones, what we hit based on AI. We have to imagine that we are on an acceleration curve, so everything will happen even more faster, even we will expect it to be more in the future. And currently we talk, the last 10 years was about deep learning and expert systems and very narrow AIs. Now with, generative AI and ChatGPT, etc., we have the first, I even call AGI-ish, because we have now an AI which is very human-like. It can answers and it will pass the Turing test, or it did pass the Turing test. We worked for this moment for 70 years, and now it's there. Now we have an AI which is everyone using. It went mainstream, and it will take a little bit of time until this is not AI anymore. Now we still discuss it as AI, but it will be so much mainstream that it's just a chatbot at the end, just a piece of software. Yeah. Okay. For me, AI is always the most superior form we currently have, and everyone talks about it, but no one is using because it's not ready.
Interesting. Okay.
So AI is always, pushing in advance. We always will think the next thing, this will be AI, and the next thing, this will be AI. Once it's solved, it's not magic anymore. It's just technology. It's just a piece of software, code, or whatever. Therefore, it is very hard to define it. What I expect is now, with generative AI, you have ChatGPT, you have Anthropic, all the models, etc. You need the layer above. You need the layer which is telling, hey, use ChatGPT to make my marketing slogan, use DALL-E to create the graphics, use another model to push it to LinkedIn or to AdWords and start drafting the campaigns, without me using 4 or 5 different models for each of the iteration types. So either you will have one larger model which is very able to be multi-modular and manage everything for you, or you will have a superior model which is helping you to work with these models.
I see.
Have a model which is really good at using generative AI for image creation and might use DALL-E and Midjourney. Below, you don't even see the results. Like, you don't know which model it will use because it knows way better to prompt than you do.
So basically what we kind of very smally see now, like where ChatGPT, so just asks DALL-E to make an image, but it's like one AI talks to the other. So basically we have so if I understand this correctly, please correct me. You have one like agent that talks to you, and your prompts in a way. It will like distill and think, okay, which model would be the best for this prompt, and then give you the result. Is that Interesting. Okay, so you don't have like one autonomous agent who is in one modality and is like autonomous in that way. Like for example, you have this like what was it, Auto GPT, which is text based and can go to the internet and then just say, okay, you want to have a journey, I will search for the best destinations, for the best restaurants, etc. But it was just one modality, but it is that plus it has more multimodal capabilities. Is that right?
Correct. Because my friends working in the business were really keen on AI, like Professor Dr. Christian Gutmann. He has even done, I think, his PhD about agent models 20 years ago. And he's finally in the phase that say, now we have finally the capacity to execute on it. And even ChatGPT is based on a model which is based on models.
So the rumor goes, yes.
For the end users, the interface will be always easy.
True.
But we will increase the complexity below.
Interesting. Yeah, but I don't know if it's validated, but there is this rumor that GPT-4 is just a mixture of different expert models or big models, just combined. I don't know how the current state is, but I read it as well. So that we even now don't have one big model anymore. I don't know what the current state is.
I mean, the whole training works because you pre-train it and then use a model like backward propagation to optimize on it. So you let one model run against the other model, and the second model is helping you to optimize the first model. And then you maybe have a framework or model below which is helping you to optimize even this process.
Okay, so this would mean like very easy, usable, multimodal AIs that talk to other AIs. Is that right?
At the end, it's all about the interface. The
Okay.
less code I need, the less prior knowledge I need to get good results, the more people can use it. Because the very few of us have time to go into prompting. Like I use several models at the same time, but I have optimized my prompting or like my personal one for each model, knowing how to talk to them.
Yep, same.
And this knowledge, most people don't have time to learn all of this unless it's their new job.
Exactly. And even then, there's this argument that prompting is even now not really necessary anymore, because you have like GPT, which distills whatever you say and then give it to the next model. Like there is this, what is the screenshot when one user used DALL-E, but in the middle of the process, there were, I don't know, he lost the internet connection or something, and then he just got the text from ChatGPT talking to DALL-E what DALL-E should do. So you could basically look into the model, what the model is doing. I don't know if it's official. I just saw it on
if
Twitter.
I use ChatGPT with DALL-E now, I'm telling ChatGPT, hey, please. I'm currently writing a book called Die KI-Nation. And I have used ChatGPT for creating book covers. So I knew I wanted to have a German flag in the middle with an American and a Chinese cloud around, like a little bit threatening. And that's how I've described it. It translated this into prompts describing very detailed for DALL-E what it should draw. The result was amazingly good, but I could have never written the prompt myself because it was very descriptive. So there we have a little bit of an agent system, which works. On the other hand, for ChatGPT, you need to be very good in prompting, because there's a difference if you say ChatGPT, hey, you're a professional writer, please write in text, versus just write a text.
Yeah. You even need to at least to know the meta prompts, like role prompting, etc.
So which is still missing is that my ChatGPT version knows, oh, I always want to have the best version or the professional one. So I have to write this prompt each time, and that's annoying.
True. And even meta prompting is a field on its own, and there are a lot of undiscovered territory, at least as far as I know. So yeah, you still have, it's true actually. I dismissed it easily, I have to say.
And as I was saying, this is huge. If you have used OpenAI before, because it was public for the last 2 years, or use like Aleph Alpha, they don't have the same interface. You still have to play a little bit with a calibration.
Exactly.
And this is a conversion killer. It's a way of a difference if I have to, adjust the temperature manually, or it's just included in the text. Yeah. And so I said it's all about the interface to make it as easy as possible for humans to talk to a machine in a human way.
So you have basically just a very, very easy interface, then an AI that takes whatever is the input and interprets the input and gives it to whatever agent is in the background, so you get the best output.
And this is what we will see the next 2 years, especially for enterprises. Enterprise AI is the big thing next year and the year after, because enterprises have following challenge. They want to have the same output depending where they are based. So for example, you're running operations in US and China, you want that your language is streamlined. You want that your output, your pictures, your images are streamlined with corporate identity. And currently every user is getting different results, even if they would use the same prompt. So it is important that we find enterprise solutions where everyone can use it first with their own data without being afraid that this data is used in other forms. Second, that you have access to your own data, which is huge topic. So let's say a large corporation like Volkswagen can upload all the internal documentations, that everyone in the world can access to this within the framework, which works perfectly because then you have way more knowledge.
Yeah.
So what's happening is that we're coming from a very AGI version because it knows a lot of things.
Okay, now I see.
To a version which knows very much in depth something. So it's an expert system, because it has all the domain knowledge of your company. But
interesting.
Combined with generative AI, so it can use all the expert knowledge, but use it to generate new output. And before, we have just expert systems, which always give you the same output. And you have the generative AI, which doesn't have specific inputs like knowledge. And this to combine is what we will have 2024, 2025.
Okay, so like autonomous, but individualized.
Yeah, I call them industry networks or domain knowledge. You know, you will have like a car producer will have an enterprise version of ChatGPT, which is really good in talking how to build a car, how to produce a car, you know, knowing all the slang, having all the it has a deeper understanding of this. So the model will become a true expert in his field.
Okay.
And then you already have a superior form of knowledge or intelligence because it will be better than most humans working in this company. Because it just knows 10,000 of documents by heart. So let's say you want to have ESG implementation. It knows what you're already doing in all these countries. It can track the numbers. It can compile you an ESG report within minutes versus a human calling every office and telling them, please give me your ESG reporting so I can compile it.
Okay, yeah, that's a take on agents that I don't know if never, but rarely heard before. Interesting. Okay, I don't know if we like 2024 seems ambitious, but then again we had extreme breakthroughs just this year, just last half year. So
as I said, it's a topic.
Yeah, true.
For example, Nionic is doing this, German team or German-based team, and they want to be ready with a demo next year, maybe for Rise of AI.
Okay.
So they will work on this. Still takes more time, but there's a difference between, hey, we hear about it and it's solved versus it is implemented.
True. Okay. Yeah, sounds good. So 2025 then, next one, industrial AI experts. Sounds
like this is a little bit what I mean,
right? Yeah.
So industrial AI expert is, you can call it an expert generative network, you know, a model or something like this.
So basically, here we get the multi-model in the name, like different models, not just modals, but models, like multi-modal systems. And here we get this like scalable with individual data, etc. Right? Okay, interesting. Yeah, makes sense. So we have industrial AI experts. Interesting framing. Okay, sure, makes sense. Then we have the next one, connected industry. So there's the next big step.
Now it gets interesting. If we make it, it's a little bit topic of my book too, because it has to be solved, but it's very hard to solve. Imagine you connect now the expert system of Volkswagen with all its suppliers and assume they have their own AI systems. Then you will get a whole industry network. And this can tell you how to optimize along the whole supply chain. Because it knows, oh, Volkswagen, you're ordering this piece of a part and you don't know it, but 3 steps below the value chain, somewhere in a different country, they produce this very expensive or it's not sensible. You know, if you optimize here and here and here, man, you're saving money, you're saving time, you're more efficient, more productive, because it's so complex. I mean, we talk about a car about 100,000 of pieces, 100,000 of suppliers. No human can see this. So it will be interesting if you can get the whole supply chain in one network or many models, however you will depend it, and connect them. And then you start not only having the knowledge connected, but also the processes. So you can do the order management, the supply chain management, the bookkeeping, the accounting. Like you can finally optimize it on a very individual level, depending on your industry needs. And this only works if we have standards. And if you build something I call a monopoly, which we don't want, but I still say, hey, this is the smartest you can do. Let's say, for example, the kitchen industry in Germany. They have built 70 years ago, let's say, Verein, association, just to stream their interest. Because one is producing like Bosch, the machine, the other one is producing, the wood parts, the other one is doing the floor. So various industries all are part of kitchen production. And by today, the German kitchen is in competition with the Chinese, the Italian, the American kitchens. It's not competing against other German kitchens because they have standardized within the industry. And I see this, they have this made human-like. Why not using a foundation model at the end, feeding all the suppliers and parts into it to build the perfect kitchen for the perfect needs, very individual for everyone. And then you compete as an industry against other hubs, other nations.
Okay, that's a very interesting take. Yeah, I like that one. So the practical take I would bring with it is just look out for strategic AI partners then, right?
Yeah.
Like it's like, okay, we have the options. So we have very, very large models then. Holy hell. Like what is this? Like billions, trillions of parts?
Yes.
Like that's okay, that's really hard. But I thought this like 2 years ago. It's getting hard to comprehend how big these models are, but
that's why they need to be increasingly energy efficient. And there will be models to help you to pre-train them, make it easier. And the other hand, that's why we need, infrastructure. That's why we need GPUs and TPUs all here in Europe to train them, to etc. Big problem to achieve this. Still, it's on the roadmap now.
True. Okay, fair. Sounds good. Sounds good. Connected industry. So, which brings us to 27. AI wars have started. Okay,
yeah,
and now it gets a little bit.
To change AI wars and civil unrest. Yes, from the order.
Okay.
Let's jump first to a civil unrest.
Okay. So
what I think is that, and it's not the problem of AI, but AI is accelerating it. We all feel the tension. We in tech, we boom. We have plenty of jobs. We look for people. Money is flowing. Attention is flowing. And then we have millions of people in every nation who are left behind. Just look at China. They have an unemployment rate up to 25%. They have less investments. Banking, loans going down. Real estate is going down. Recession type.
Like right now?
Yes, right now. China is currently failing. If you look for Peter Zihai, who has written the book The End of the World, it's just the beginning. Really good book. And I agree with him that China is over. It's like peak China. We haven't realized this due to several other reasons, but it's peak China. And that means that if China's not growing anymore, the rest will not grow strong too. And let's say the cake, especially with AI digitalization, means less people have more money and power. Take the example of China. Xi Jinping is running 1.4 billion people with 2 algorithms. Social credit score, police cloud, Tiger and Flag, and there are a handful more programs. He's even managing his whole party. Like everyone is monitored within the party for bribery, for performance, etc. So AI is managing the country by a large extent because therefore a few people can control a lot of people. And this leads to either suppression, which we see in China. AI is heavily used to censor in real time in any form. So you have AI for oppression. On the other hand, people will get pissed. They will start going on the streets. They will vote for Trump. They will vote for AfD. And they don't do it because of the AI, but the AI is the personification. And the AI is honestly one of the reasons, because AI leads to higher productivity, more efficiency. That means I need less people for more output, which is good. There's the saying, you only need 10,000 people to run the world. or 100,000 people to run the world. If
But
it
I
would be
think
efficient.
the original meaning is a little bit different, right? It was less to coordinate, etc. But I can see that in the AI. Yeah, well, that's basically the vision of Sam Altman, who says like, okay, you can basically produce everything to just close to zero costs. So what will that mean?
Correct. So with AI, this is just happening. And I mean, like, we have two options here. Either we figure out how we first tax AI on a global level in a really good way. I'm a friend of a data tax, for example, but then reinvest this into society. In Germany, we will use, a lot of money to have civil peace, give people Bürgergeld, give them retirement money, and then they are too old or too lazy to go on the street. But in countries like Egypt, Libya, Morocco, many others, Turkey, etc. You are Italy, Spain, maybe you have a less strong welfare system, and then, people will be more frustrated and go on the street. So I think we will have civil unrest, increasing tensions, and AI and digitization is one of these reasons.
So yeah, it's basically this this bifurcation. So you have like, I mean, it's a trend. I would say just like at least 12,000 years old, and you have these trends all the time. Then there is some kind of war or something, which kind of reduce everything, and then it starts again. So, but just every time a little bit quicker because technology, etc. So I can see the dynamics definitely, but in 2028 already, yeah. So in
many say 2027. Like,
okay,
if you
great.
feel it, and I talk to non-technical people.
Okay.
My friends, technical, non-technical. I'm living in the forest, in the woods, if I can. I'm a big fan of preparing myself of the end of the world, or just to prepare myself not to be in Berlin when shit hits the fan.
Mm-hmm.
We will come to this later, AI wars, because with civil unrest, you have we'll touch this in the second point.
Okay.
Still, I would say these tensions are there. They are always there, and they always end up in revolutions or public unrest. And we are overdue with this. Right? It will happen again. It will increase. And it doesn't have to be the AI the reason why people go on the street. It can be that a black young man was killed by a white cop. But the anger and is still there, and it's part of the AI.
So basically, we have just like we add fuel to the fire from another source. Like we already have this. I don't know if bifurcation is the right thing. I'm like, in the last decades, it was like right against like left against right, up against down, etc., etc. I don't know if that's even the contact line here. I get more and more the feeling that we have more like people who understand the world we live in, like understand tech, understand the dynamics of tech, can get jobs through it, etc., etc. And then the other people who just it's like this argument of the slow technological singularity. Like every day you lose some people that just don't know how to navigate in this world anymore.
So in science fiction, the most clash of cultures is, let's say, between those pro-tech and those against tech. And then it's often the Catholic Church, for example. Well, I don't currently see the Catholic Church as my public enemy number one, but we will see.
Religions, so yeah. All in all,
so let's jump up one to what AI wars. I mean with this that because we have mentioned China, and China is under pressure. They don't grow. They have high unemployment rates, so their society had the deal. You can do whatever you want with surveillance and laws. We have enough money to feed our bellies, and we are wealthier than before. It happened to Japan. It happened to Germany. We all got older, and our generation, and you know this, Benjamin, we are not richer than our parents. We can't afford a house anymore. We still have more technologies and more tools, but we are not double rich as our parents. Maybe the same richness. It's like we didn't double. The worst. And this leads to social unrest. But this also means that some countries will use, if they have too much internal pressure, they will use a war just to rally the nations. And the Chinese are very likely to rally the nation among this. We look a lot at China, like how they communicate. And you have seen that the defense minister was exchanged, I think the foreign minister was exchanged. I think the head of the nuclear missiles or something like this was exchanged. So there are some indications that people are getting replaced, maybe, and then we will see, with people who are more like the Russians, aggressive or passive. But you see the indications. And if Xi Jinping wants to stay in power, he has to start a war at a certain time. Also, an Indo-Pacific war is overdue, like historical wise. You always, I mean, unfortunately, war always happens, even with less costs, like casualties. Still, it's maybe overdue. Otherwise, I don't know how to take the heat out of the system without a failed state like a civil war with on China.
Exactly, I would say that this is the alternative. Like you have internal fighting, but it's not per se better. That's true.
Yes, and the Chinese hate civil wars. They hate it. They hate most of the time civil wars. You know, when China was never conquered.
True.
You know,
True.
Japanese were there, Americans were there, but they was never conquered. It was always the internal fights. And like in Russia, we don't have a civil war in the system because with nuclear bombs, you know, you don't know who's in charge of them. What I mean is we will have wars. And it will not be a war like Israel-Hamas, where you have a high technology power and a very low-tech power on the other hand. Or like Russia high-tech, and then the Ukrainians being very fundamentally low-tech in contrast. You will have maybe fights between Korea, Australia, and Japan against the Chinese. Because both use AI plenty in the military.
I mean, we have AI right now in the Ukraine conflict even. Like with these drones, etc.
It's a local event. If Russia wants to, they would hack the whole energy system of Europe. And if they want to break at a certain time through it, and therefore will produce mass blackouts. And this is what I mean. So AI wars means it doesn't say AI physical is fighting physical one. We speak about cyber warfare, information warfare. So AI bots from Russia are already managing a lot of public opinion. AI bots from Russia are trying to steal informations, trying to hack systems. And this is just on a soft, low level. Just imagine China would go full scale in this, and they have the power, you know, over the years, they have built networks and bases and infrastructure everywhere. So AI will be heavily used for public propaganda, for cyber warfare, long before it will be a physical war.
So yeah, so basically we maybe even don't have a classical, like a kinetic war anymore, because you can, I mean, if you spin this up, you have misinformation, you have disinformation, you have deep fakes, you can crack systems, you can basically like cover whole system, like you can. Like TikTok, I don't like TikTok as a system, but I love it as a cyber weapon. This is such a clever thing. Like there's like you destroy literally the time of your enemies. Like this is brilliant from a warfare perspective. This is like you destroy the energy and the time of the youth of your enemy. There's
a joke. Al Qaeda would have been more successful if they would just have purchased stocks from McDonald's, Starbucks, and I think Coca-Cola.
Exactly. True. So
repeating this, yes, we will have warfare, but based on disinformation, information, deepfakes, etc. And the Chinese are really good in this. The Russians are working on this too. I have done interviews and podcasts with Chinese media too, and you know, they don't treat you the same respectful way like we do. You know, turn around your words, quote you different, etc.
So we will have some kind of war at least, but as we don't know how new technologies will fully play out, it will probably take another form. Like we see this with Ukraine now. One of the most effective weapon per dollar, if I recall correctly, is the design from Australia for a paper drone, which has like the worth of $100 or something, and can take down a tank for $1 million or something.
This is interesting. So I like to follow Ulrike Franke, who's really good drone expert, let's say AI military expert, and she's quoted once. In the Second World War, I think the British were able to produce 300 airplanes per month. Today, we produce one every 3 months. But the one plane we have costs 170 million and is full of technology. So what AI leads to is that you have a very, very high degree of technology in one piece. Because you don't want to lose so many humans anymore. It's cheaper to lose a machine. But the machine is very expensive. And then if you compete against a mass army, like just having paper drones, very different approach. So it can mean that in future wars, you have these very good and very well aggressive military AI, which is very precise. But it also can mean that you have random bots just destroying the internet, just burning everything, like just spamming everything.
Okay, now so basically we have the classic cycle of like Ray Dalio has a good take on this. You have peace, then peace makes people like kind of lazy. Laziness leads to a system gets crumbly, people get angry over it, and you have a war or something. So it's like all the time the same cycle.
And you don't have to be the nation starting the war. It's enough, we all rally behind the Ukraine. So, and it's very tricky if you have a conflict like in the Middle East, where it's very hard to rally because both sides are kind of losing morally, and you don't even know what side you want to be part with.
Yeah, that's and there is not even, I don't know if, I think AI is in disinformation very involved right now. Like there's that
and
much.
You mentioned TikTok.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it, by the way, because the algo is pretty smart. It knows what I want to see, and it's changing. My algo is changing every couple of days, that I get totally different content.
I have to say, fully disclaimer, I've never used TikTok. Never personally. I just saw
plenty.
It. Really? Interesting.
Yeah, it's my source of information, number one, but interestingly. And I love to check, especially when I get deepfakes included. And I always look for the commentary. I mainly look what people think about the content. Like my main source is reading commentaries.
Interesting.
And I love it because what people sometimes write is very truthful.
True. Okay. Interesting. Now I'm really curious. So we have 2029. And now AI goes mainstream. So we had fully wars, and now AI goes mainstream.
So my assumption is, and this is my mental problem, AI is correlating with capitalism because it's a driver of efficiency and productivity. I think capitalism is broken like we have it. It's not sustainable. We don't have a world. I just started yesterday reading again the book Hybris, which just says like, hey, our DNA is made to conquer. Our DNA as a human is made to grow and succeed, survival. But we have come to a point that the earth is too small for us to cover for everyone. And therefore we will come to the fight and the struggle, and maybe it might be before or after, how we share the piece of the cake of the resources of the world. Nevertheless, AI will grow eating the cake. It will be in politics. It will be in all the corporations. If we do it fully, you have what we call in Germany Industry 4.0, a fully interconnected industry. Still some humans in the loop, but we need less people to manage the same output, which means work itself shouldn't be the main driver for tax income for a government. We need to figure this out. Work itself shouldn't be the main purpose of society. Everyone should work. If there's not enough work, what do we do? I think as a society, you shouldn't optimize on having as many employed people as possible, but more optimize that everyone has a good life.
Yeah, purpose-driven. Yep.
Purpose-driven, happiness-driven, fulfillment, satisfied, and not employed.
Yeah, I agree.
And it will be solved. So if everything goes right, no one is pressing the wrong red button, AI is eating the world. Software is eating the world, and AI is eating software.
Software, yeah. Interesting. What I had the same view on more people and more options for people, like per person, means like we eat resources, but the best resource we have in the universe is knowledge, and knowledge is infinite. The only like limit for knowledge is the laws of nature, and even there we are not sure, because like most of nature we don't even understand, like dark energy, dark matter. So I tend to follow the argument that we don't have resources as a limit or anything else. We just need better knowledge what to do with the resources we have. Like, for example, on uranium, if you don't know what to do with it, it's just a source of radiation which will kill you slowly. Or with oil, same. So you just have some syrup coming out of the earth. What the hell is this shit? It burns even. But if you know how to make an engine work with it, great. It's a great resource, worth wars over it. So
due to times, we don't jump too much, but I agree. Like currently a trend is that you start to cluster computing or Rechenzentren.
Computer clusters, yeah.
Computer clusters around living environment, because I spoke with a company a couple of days ago. They put their racks into water, and therefore they don't need to cool it anymore. But the water itself is giving heat to the environment around. So you can heat a couple of thousands people their homes, which doesn't having a couple of server racks there. So it saves a lot of energy for cooling down, and at the same time, it's providing energy for those needing the energy.
That's awesome. That's an awesome idea.
So we will start seeing this more. It's in some countries more advanced, as I said, like the Chinese, because they rebuilt their society faster than we did. Maybe in Singapore will be really good.
Yeah.
We will figure this out. But I would say that by 2030, or where we currently are, AI is mainstream. It will be in various fields, as you say, education, public services, it will be the industries. AI won't go away. Maybe even content is AI made per definition. And I always say we'll come to the point where we pay a premium when humans do it.
Yep. Yeah.
Humanly,
that's a lot of people say this. Yeah.
I pay humans, let's say for text generation, that they use AI to do it. And I'm saving some money because the human needs less time with the AI. Then I will pay significantly less because only AI is doing it. And maybe then you come back to humans and paying a premium because it's human made.
There's a touch. There's some this argument is even now. So basically we have in the like 26, 7, 8 roughly, we have the military shift or something like a escalation, mainly militarily based, I think. If I can sum up this, and then later we have the civil equivalent, basically, right? Like we have in any case we have a massive shift because of technology, which multiplies forces.
We can summarize it a little bit like AI first, and today already have the first companies calling them AI first. And if you're in the tech field, you are, but maybe AI first will go for everything. I mean, you go to a restaurant and you will have like at McDonald's, you will have an automated process there, and no human touch point.
True, that's true. Actually, that there are. I don't know how far they have gone, but I've seen pictures of fully automated McDonald's, like not even drive-throughs, but like walk-ins. Like you go there, you put some buttons, and it will just come to you, which is. I don't know.
We have in Germany a current problem. This calls we have sometimes we have a surplus of cheap labor force due to immigration, and therefore that's why we have Mindestlohn, minimum wage. So you can't go below, because normally it would you would pay someone who's an immigrant 1 or 2 or 3 euros an hour. That's more than he normally would make because he is not allowed to work, and then you don't invest into AI because it's cheaper to employ people. If the salary per person is very high, then you have an incentive to go for tech and to scale.
True.
So this is like the fight you have, because humans are still too cheap in some fields. If, let's say, I can use an AI to generate a legal text, it's way cheaper than paying 100 hours or 500 hours per hour for my lawyer. Depends a little bit on the use cases.
True. So basically we see like the same shift, but in military first, because... Well, let's face it.
Military is always ahead.
Exactly. Like this is the
5 to 7 years ahead.
Yeah.
Because there you don't think like, oh, is this efficient? No, we can spend the money because we need the solution.
Exactly.
Once it's solved, then the industry and society will adapt on it.
Interesting. But do you think that still military is like before like the civil part in like AI engineering, etc.? Because I would argue that
think about Snowden, what the NSA was doing. I mean, that was crazy shit. We all knew that they could do this. We all had the jokes, hey, they can do this. And then it came out. And technically, I don't know any company who can reproduce this because they don't have the power and, everything. So the NSA was doing what, 10 years ago, really crazy stuff. Think about now what they can do now.
Yeah, but it's like, I think if you scale this up, like this is like literally would be completely crazy.
I think the Americans and the Chinese have stuff on their shelf which is crazy.
Okay, that is food for thought. Because my logic was there are no better 400 people in AI than the employees at OpenAI. So they have the best team. They really ship. They have a very good structure. I don't know why, but they are the best by far. They beat Google. They beat Microsoft. Anyone. So if at least for me, it seems there is no better place for AI right now on the whole earth than OpenAI.
But I would disagree.
But again, yeah, the military. I mean, the military has like the infinite amount of resources.
They
basically.
have the infinite, and there was a saying: the NSA was paying tech people way more money, and they were hiring the best people you don't know about. Just because
True.
you don't know about doesn't mean they're not existing. And
True.
I always think like they have really interesting stuff in their shell, up their sleeves. We will see.
That's true. I mean, the whole past would support your thesis. So interesting. That's a part I never thought actually about. So, and then right now we are at the end, and so the beginning of our talk. AI runs the world. What do you mean with that?
This is what I mean. The interconnected thing. AI is, let's say, connected to your 3D printer, and you need a new piece for your computer or whatever, and it's everything streamlined, like from the design creation to everything. Like you have one interface, and you say, "Hey, I need new clothing," and it's producing your clothing, maybe based on your style or your taste, and your size. It's like the hyper mass customized world. Like if you go to school, you have your personal tutor, AI tutor, which will manage you through all the courses in class, and it's adapting to your learning skills and your behavior. But you will always have a human in the loop, but the human will be more like, hey, one teacher coming in once a day to class or once a week to class, you meet with your classmates, but at the end you're like self-learning with an AI. So it will be more like AI first, but then the human in the loop for feedback or very personal topics. I think with AI, we will come to let's say, mass customization world. Like everything around you will be adapted. Never forget, this will be with AR and AX combined. Like interestingly about AI is that when you go to virtual reality, which is amazing, AI is generating the virtual reality for you because it takes so much computing power. And just imagine you're playing a video game and it's like a movie. That means it's acting to yourself. Like you don't know the pattern before. It's your own story. It's very individual. And if AI can generate the content in real time, it doesn't have to be prescripted. Sure, let's say the gaming company will say, hey, this is the overall journey and this is your goal, make some quests and come to this point, like open world. But the open world will be adapted to your needs, to your skills, and what you're currently doing. For example, they are testing now NPCs, which are always prescripted, to use generative AI for NPCs, non-playing characters in games. Means next time you go into a game, you don't even know what it will respond because it's using Gen AI based on your behavior to respond to you, which will lead to a very different outcome for solving this quest, etc. And as I said, this is just without being AI sentient, and this is just what we could do today if we execute the other 99%.
So I don't know. I think it's informatics saying or something like, if you can go from 0 to 1, 1 to 100 is the easy part.
For example,
basically, yeah.
And the second thing is, that's why I don't like to discuss AGI anymore, because come on, we talk here about millions of different AI versions. Sure, you will have one large model to rule them all, maybe, but then you will have military eyes, you will have spots, the whole IoT sector. Every camera which has an image recognition built on the chip is a rudimentary AI because it's able to recognize objects and therefore, doing the processing local and not in the cloud, which helps you with the latency. Therefore, you will have, I think like you will have AI behaving like swarms, more like bee swarms or ants. It will auto-manage itself without human input on a very rudimentary level. Then you maybe have a human in the loop who's, doing the legal compliance part because you still need the human sitting in front of the computer to press the stop button in case you want this. All this is happening, but my goal is not to build a super intelligence.
But from the
outside, I don't want to have one AI ruling the world.
Yeah, well, okay. Like from the outside, it will look like an AGI, but it's not what's in the back end then, right?
No, the back end will be thousands of AIs working together, and maybe you have an AGI-lish form of intelligence just being the overall model, as you call it, the meta model. In my view, you will have some very superior intelligences. Maybe it's very good in the automotive industries or something like this, very high ones. And then you will have like a pyramid, a huge variety of different levels of intelligence forms, but therefore also different levels of execution. I don't need an AGI in a robot who's doing packaging. I just need a packaging robot who's really good at understanding this environment, is really good at solving this task in front of him. He doesn't need to be good at math, and he doesn't need to be teaching me philosophy. So this robot will stay stupid or very narrow. But then you need an AI who's managing all the robots. And then you will need an AI who's managing the higher level, streamlining the robots within the whole plant. And then you need an AI managing all the plants. And then you have another AI maybe above, which is managing all the plants all across all countries.
Okay, that sounds like a way more efficient solution in any case.
Because AI will become more manager. Today, in every company, costs occur because you have people managing people.
True.
You have in every company people who work, and then you have those who manage those who work. And the larger the company is, the more you manage. And most people are not really good in managing. Number one reasons why you quit your job is because of your boss. Number one reason. I think AI could do this better, and people have to learn that they might work for an AI. Like they already do.
In Japan, if I recall correctly, there are like experiments for a few years even now where they have at least one manager in the leaderboard replaced through an AI. When they test it right now.
Curious to see. Science fiction thinks always the Germans and the Japanese will be the number one in terms of AI adoption. I don't believe that Germany is that fast unless we got the wake-up call.
I don't know. It's I don't see it to be honest, but maybe we will be surprised. So last thing then, what do you think will happen after this? Like if we have a completely AI run world, what happens?
First, I think
evolution doesn't stop.
The whole timeline will be slower. Some things of this will happen, but overall it might be slower.
Okay.
There is a reason why Ray Kurzweil, etc., said, "Hey, we will reach AGI or superintelligence in the year 2024." And 45, 48, maybe 2030. Let's see. Really, let's see. As long as we don't understand how humans think and work, and we don't understand on our brain yet, we are still discovering it. I can't build a machine like a human. And I think we don't have to. I don't need sentient machines. I don't need them. I don't need a human-like machine. What I need are machines who do work, who solve things more efficient than we do, using less resources, using less energy with a higher output. That is when we overall benefit as a society. And therefore, I don't need the super intelligence. Also, because the super intelligence is way too high risk. Maybe, as I said, maybe we have one super AI running the United Nations.
True.
Maybe not. It's very hard to predict.
So we kind of come in, like we kind of get into the realm of kind of singularity, but without it a singularity. It's just hard to predict, not impossible to.
For me, the singularity has already happened. Like for me, the singularity is the point of no return. Like when every day the acceleration is faster than the day before. And ask, who wants to stop using ChatGPT? Who wants to stop using the internet? Who wants to stop using smartphones? Who wants to stop using calculators? Like, do we want to go back to society with less electronics, all this? No, we get very much used to what we have. And every day we get something new on top. I think we're already in the midst of it. And one day we will say, oh, this was the inflection point.
But if you follow this, then basically we have begun with the thing 12,000 years ago with the first cities. Because there it started very, very slowly.
I'll discuss this, but I say human society is way older. We talk about 60,000 of civilizations, 60,000 years of civilization. And we had many ups and downs. However, what we touched for the first time, and we know about this, is the ceiling. There's some good books like Why China Was Ruling the World for a very long time, but all of them reached a ceiling. We crossed this ceiling somewhere in the Industrial Revolution.
True. Yeah.
First, you needed humans as energy suppliers in form of slaves. Then you had animals in forms of animals. And then we finally was able to get energy from coal and oil. And now solar and all this. And it's always with energy. The more energy as a society we produce, the wealthier we are. We are currently stuck in the whole energy dilemma because we need a lot of it and it's not cheap to produce it. And it's, bad for the environment the way we do it. If we solve, for example, nuclear fusion, or hydrogen fusion, all these topics, bam, then you have another wave of society, another wave of wealth, and everything could look a little bit different.
So basically you follow the Kardashev scale, like how much energy is a civilization able to produce and from which source?
Yes.
Interesting. So after all, we will get into very, very fascinating times. That's interesting. Okay, there we definitely can agree on. Interesting takes. Thank you. Thank you very much. Is there anything else you want to point out or say at the end?
First,
Go.
buy my book when it's ready. Second, visit the Rise of I conference, because there you can discuss with like-minded people the similar questions for a whole day and around. It's why we do the Rise of I conference, to have from politics to science people in the same room discussing exactly these questions. And then A, what will be possible? B, how do we do it in a trusted, human-like and European way?
Can absolutely recommend. Was there. It's awesome. It's awesome. I hope I have the time next year. But when will it be?
15th of May, May 15th.
15th of May. Okay. So put it in your calendar. May 15th, 2024.
Correct.
Well, thank you then. When will your book arrive? When will it be
Hopefully
released?
before.
Okay, so we have an interesting May in 2024 before us. Cool. Thank you. And thank you for listening and watching it. We will see us next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.